Top scandalous facts about Pierre Elliott Trudeau. Pierre Elliott Trudeau, a figure of immense charisma and controversy, profoundly shaped Canada's political scene. Not only did he serve as the Prime Minister from 1968 to 1979 and from 1980 to 1984, but he is also the father of Justin Trudeau, the current Prime Minister, adding a unique dynastic element to his legacy. Known for his flamboyant personality, progressive policies, and at times divisive decisions, Trudeau's impact remains a topic of heated discussion. In this video we explore 11 scandalous, shocking, and undeniably intriguing facts about this pivotal leader, revealing the complexities and contradictions that defined his time in office and personal life. Fact number 1. Promiscuous love life. Pierre Elliott Trudeau's love life before and after his tenure as Prime Minister was a subject of national fascination, characterized by its flamboyance and high-profile liaisons. His relationships with celebrities like Barbara Streisand and Margot Kidder painted a picture of a man who was as charismatic in his personal life as he was in politics. His marriage to Margaret Sinclair in 1971, a woman nearly 3 decades his junior, was a media sensation, laden with tales of romance and subsequent turmoil. Despite their separation in 1977 and eventual divorce in 1984, the Trudeaus' relationship continued to captivate the public imagination, with ongoing speculations about Trudeau's fidelity and their familial struggles. Their marriage, marked by both its passion and its pitfalls, added a layer of complexity to Trudeau's public persona, blending his political and personal narratives into a captivating story. Number 2. Fidel Castro's friendship. Amidst the Cold War's polarized global atmosphere, Pierre Trudeau's friendship with Cuban leader Fidel Castro stood out as a remarkable exception to the prevailing geopolitical alignments. Trudeau's visit to Cuba in 1976 and his open embrace of Castro, including a reciprocal visit by the Cuban leader to Canada, were bold moves that underscored Trudeau's independent approach to foreign policy. This friendship was more than just a diplomatic relationship. It was a symbol of Trudeau's broader vision for Canada's role on the world stage, a vision that prioritized dialogue and understanding over ideological conformity. Critics at home and abroad viewed this relationship with skepticism and disapproval, citing it as an unnecessary fraternization with a communist dictator. Nonetheless, Trudeau maintained that engaging with countries regardless of their political systems was crucial for peace and progress, a stance that reinforced his legacy as a leader unafraid to defy conventional expectations. Number 3. Trudo Mania and parliamentary decorum. The phenomenon of Trudo Mania not only showcased Pierre Trudeau's charm and visionary politics but also had its moments of controversy, adding layers to his complex persona. Amidst this fervor, a notable incident occurred on February 16, 1971, in the Canadian House of Commons, when Trudeau was alleged to have used profanity during a heated exchange. This episode became a peculiar footnote in Trudeau's legacy, humorously referred to as the Fuddle-Duddle incident, a term Trudeau himself used in a subsequent interview to obliquely address the accusations without confirming or denying the specifics of what was said. This moment of parliamentary decorum, or the lack thereof, has lingered in Canadian political folklore, illustrating Trudeau's sometimes irreverent approach to politics. Interestingly, his son, Justin Trudeau, who also became Prime Minister of Canada, later acknowledged that his father did indeed swear during that incident, cementing Fuddle-Duddle in the annals of political history as a quirky testament to Pierre Trudeau's multifaceted legacy. Number 4. Impact on family and legacy. The union between Pierre Elliott Trudeau and Margaret Sinclair, marked by both passion and tumult, brought 3 children into the world: Justin, Alexander, Sasha, and Michelle. Despite the eventual dissolution of their marriage, Pierre and Margaret continued to share a bond through their children, navigating the complexities of public life and personal challenges with a degree of mutual respect and commitment to their family. Margaret's struggles with mental health and Pierre's role as both a national leader and a father painted a picture of a family that, like any other, faced its share of difficulties but remained interconnected. Justin Trudeau's ascent to the Prime Minister's office in 2015 was a testament to the enduring influence of the Trudeau legacy in Canadian politics, bridging the past and present in the nation's collective memory. Number 5. Pirouette behind the Queen. In a moment that has since become emblematic of Pierre Trudeau's unconventional approach to politics and protocol, he performed a pirouette behind Queen Elizabeth II at Buckingham Palace during the 1977 G7 summit. This act, captured in a photograph that went on to gain iconic status, was variously interpreted as a display of irreverence towards the monarchy or as an expression of Trudeau's playful and rebellious spirit. Regardless of the interpretation, the pirouette underscored Trudeau's penchant for breaking from tradition and asserting his personality in the global political arena, reflecting a deeper ethos of independence and individuality that characterized much of his tenure. Number 6. Implementing the Official Languages Act. In 1969, under Trudeau's leadership, the Canadian government enacted the Official Languages Act, declaring English and French as the country's official languages. This legislation was a cornerstone of Trudeau's efforts to foster unity and bilingualism within a culturally diverse nation. Aimed at addressing the grievances of French Canadians and promoting equality between the country's two linguistic groups, the act was both celebrated and critiqued. While it played a crucial role in elevating French to equal status with English in federal institutions, it also sparked backlash from segments of the English-speaking population who viewed it as an imposition and a challenge to the linguistic status quo. The Official Languages Act remains a defining feature of Canada's commitment to linguistic duality and multiculturalism. Number 7. The October Crisis. In October 1970, Canada was thrust into a national crisis, unprecedented in its peacetime history, known as the October Crisis. The Front de Libération du Québec, FLQ, a separatist group advocating for Quebec's independence, escalated their efforts by kidnapping British diplomat James Cross and Quebec Labour Minister Pierre Laporte. Trudeau's government responded by invoking the War Measures Act on October 16, 1970, marking the first time in Canadian peacetime history the act was applied. This decision granted extraordinary powers to the government, including the suspension of habeas corpus, thereby allowing police to arrest and detain individuals without charge. Over 450 people were arrested, and thousands were searched in an operation aimed at quelling FLQ activities. Trudeau's staunch position during this crisis, encapsulated by his "just watch me" remark to a journalist questioning the extent of his government's response, underscored his resolve to maintain order at any cost. This period remains one of the most polarizing events in Canadian history, highlighting the tension between state security and civil liberties. Number 8. Controversial attitude towards Indigenous peoples. Trudo Mania highlighted Pierre Trudeau's charismatic appeal and marked a significant shift in Canadian politics towards a more inclusive and progressive society. However, his tenure was not without controversy, especially regarding his approach to Indigenous issues. Critics point out that Trudeau's ambition to forge a unified Canadian federation sometimes led him to take stringent measures that skirted the edges of legality. A notable example from his time in office was the 60s Scoop, a policy of forcibly removing Indigenous children from their families to be adopted primarily by non-Indigenous families in Canada and abroad. This policy has been widely condemned for its harmful impact on Indigenous communities and cultural identities. It took decades before apologies and compensation were extended by provincial and federal governments in the second decade of the 21st century, highlighting a dark chapter in Canada's treatment of Indigenous peoples during Trudeau's era. Number 9. Personal wealth and aristocratic lifestyle. Pierre Elliott Trudeau's persona was significantly shaped by his affluent background and cosmopolitan lifestyle, which positioned him as both a playboy and an intellectual aristocrat in the public's eye. His education at prestigious institutions like Harvard University set the foundation for a life filled with intellectual pursuits and luxury. Trudeau was known for his love of exotic travel and fast sports cars, embodying a lifestyle that was far removed from the average Canadian's experience. Yet, this very detachment, combined with his charismatic leadership and progressive policies, contributed to his unique appeal. His ability to navigate the realms of high society, academia, and global politics with ease added to the mystique that surrounded him, making Trudeau a figure of fascination and, for some, an emblem of aspirational living. Number 10. Constitutional repatriation without Quebec's consent. One of Trudeau's most enduring legacies was the repatriation of the Canadian Constitution in 1982, which established the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, a cornerstone of Canadian civil liberties and rights. This achievement marked the culmination of Trudeau's vision for a sovereign and unified Canada, independent of British parliamentary oversight. However, the process was marred by controversy, chiefly because it proceeded without the consent of Quebec. The exclusion of Quebec in this defining moment of Canadian history deepened the rift between the province and the rest of Canada, exacerbating the already complex dynamics of federal-provincial relations. Quebec's absence from the agreement underscored the challenges of accommodating diverse national aspirations within Canada's federal framework, leaving a legacy of discord that persists in discussions of national identity and provincial autonomy. Number 11. Final years and death. Pierre Elliott Trudeau's later years saw him retreating from the public eye, dedicating his time to his family and personal interests. Despite his withdrawal from active politics, he remained a revered figure, his opinions and interventions in national debates still holding significant weight. Trudeau passed away on September 28, 2000, at the age of 80, after a battle with prostate cancer, leaving behind a complex legacy that continues to evoke strong reactions across the political spectrum. His state funeral in Montreal was attended by many dignitaries and thousands of Canadians who came to pay their respects, highlighting the profound impact he had on the nation. Trudeau's death marked the end of an era, but his influence on Canadian politics, culture, and society endures, evident in the continued discussion and evaluation of his policies and the path he charted for Canada.